Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of North Perth. Our meeting date is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. I'm Mayor Todd Kasenberg and I'll call this meeting to order. I ask the clerk to note our starting time for the minutes at 7 p.m. A warm welcome and greetings are extended to councillors, staff, delegations, and observers, pronounced Todd, who will participate in this meeting regardless of whether being physically in attendance in the council chamber in Listowel or being connected through web technologies. We begin tonight's meeting with the playing of O Canada. Those in chambers as able are invited to stand. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe peoples. We wish to recognize the long history of Indigenous peoples in Canada and show our respect to them today. We recognize their stewardship of the land. May we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship. Tonight's meeting is being streamed live on the Municipality of North Perth YouTube channel and will be available there after this meeting as an archived video. To those viewing the meeting via the YouTube channel, a warm welcome to you. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of the Council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and/or the clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances when deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate or discussion is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. Thank you. At this time, as usual, I invite your decorum over the course of the coming meeting. As you can see, all councillors are in their seats in the chamber in Listowel. Let us move to item 5 of our agenda pertaining to pecuniary interest. Members of council have full lives with engagement in the community. Sometimes they may find themselves with a potential financial or pecuniary interest in an item at the council table. Provincial legislation mandates councillors to declare this interest and in so doing to avoid direct involvement in the consideration of or voting on the item. I invite all councillors with a perceived pecuniary interest, including those who have already so declared in writing, to verbally advise the chair in public session. Documentation is to be submitted, if not already done, pursuant to council procedures. Councillors may declare now or at any point in the meeting should such interest be realized. Colleagues, those wishing to make a declaration tonight, Councillor Johnston, here you go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, everyone. Item 12.4, the Petrus Municipal Drain. I am an officer of a corporation that rents land that is owned by my brother, who is also an officer of the same corporation. So I will declare on that, and also as a result of that, 17.1. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johnston. Anyone else? I will make a declaration tonight in the closed session. There is an item that is, we'll call it item 15 at this point, that pertains to a matter that has implications with regards to my employment. And I will also therefore declare on item 17.1 the confirmatory bylaw. Anyone else? Councillor Rothwell.
Good evening, Mayor Todd, Council, members of the public. I will declare on item 15, the closed uh, session matter. It's a committee I am involved with is potentially involved as well. Then on 17.1.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Rothwell. Anyone further? Okay. As chair of this meeting, I will manage the flow of proceedings tonight and largely in accord with our agenda and rules of procedure. Some may be participating remotely by web conference. Should they wish to speak, they may draw the attention of the clerk to this using the conferencing technology's text chat function. If if technical difficulties arise, for remote participants, I will advise. I don't want to know about your financial difficulties. Let us now focus on the people's business. Part of that focus is achieved when those in the chamber silence and put away their phones. Regarding item 6 of our agenda, I have a resolution for consideration to approve the agenda. It is as follows. The agenda for tonight's meeting be approved. Moved by Councillor Anstett, seconded by Councillor Duncan. Thank you. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote.
I'm in favor.
Councillor Johnston records a manual in favor vote. And with that, we have 10 accounted for, and that is carried. Thank you. Let's move to item 7, the so-called consent agenda. Consent items are placed on our agenda because they're believed to be non-contentious, yet they may warrant council's recognition and or action. Grouping them expedites our business. However, any councilor wishing to extract an item from the consent agenda for discussion, debate, and individual action may do so. There are 28 items on the consent agenda tonight, including the minutes of our last regular council meeting. Councilors, anything to extract here or any corrections you'd like seen made to the minutes? Councillor Duncan.
7.28, please.
7.28. Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Blazek.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Kasenberg. 7.5 and 7.6, please.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Rothwell.
Thank you, Mayor Todd. Item 7.11, please.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mine have been picked, so I'm glad to see others are on it. Let's start with 7.28. Councillor Duncan.
Thank you. I'm sure most of council hasn't seen this issue before us, so I'd request that we get a report back from, I'm assuming, the Department of Protective Services or the Clerk's Department as to the background on this situation and what we could possibly do to help Mr. Martin out with a means to an end of his request in his letter.
Okay, thank you. So I think we need a resolution to direct staff to this end. I think Councillor Duncan has framed most of it for you, that council directs staff to return a report pertaining to the correspondence from Mr. Martin concerning the issues raised. And obviously, there should probably be a fairly quick timeline on this. I think the gentleman is seeking more rapid relief, so perhaps by the next meeting. Does that make sense to you to apply a timeline to this one? All right. So I'm going to consider that moved by Councillor Duncan. Looks like Councillor Norton is willing to second that. Any discussion or debate on this item? All right, seeing none, if the clerk's table is with us, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's turn to item 7.5. Councillor Blazek.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Kasenberg, and good evening to council and staff and members of the public. Um, this is pertaining to the Halton Region resolution regarding public safety requirements to protect our communities. I think it was pretty obvious during our 2026 budget survey that our community that community safety remains a large concern for the citizens of North Perth and I believe the members of this council. Therefore, I think it would be prudent for this council to support this resolution, calling on our federal government to prioritize and expedite bail and sentencing reforms, call on our provincial government to invest in public safety by increasing resources for Crown prosecutors and court operations, and to support the future policy considerations that this resolution makes. The onus to strengthen public safety and support law enforcement in the pursuit of public safety needs to be placed heavily on the federal and provincial governments and less so on municipal governments. Thank you.
So I think the resolution that is being proposed is that we issue a letter of support to the Halton region in support of their resolution and circulate that to the usual suspects, if you will. I think we can count that moved as from Councillor Blazek, seconded by Councillor Rothwell. Thank you. Any discussion or debate? It sometimes seems like people need civics lessons and about which level of government does what. And so this is certainly an opportunity to reinforce that some of the obligations with regards to these matters rest with senior levels of government. I think it makes a lot of sense. If no one else has comments, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Councillor Blazek, I think back to you for 7.6, right?
Thank you so much. Through your Mayor Kasenberg, this is in regards to the municipality of South Huron's resolution regarding Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. I think that this council needs to support this resolution calling for the government of Ontario to extend the annual OCIF envelope at not less than 400 million beyond its current 5-year term, which is ending in 2026. Thanks.
Yes, Councillor Andreessen. Okay, so let's have a resolution that sends a letter of support for that letter. Who was the originator, Councillor Blazek? Sorry. South Huron. But South Huron were they referencing someone else's work? I think so. Edwards. Anyway, I think you can track it through. Letter of support, and again, the usual suspects, the appropriate ministries, and certainly our MPP and MP as courtesy. Moved by Councillor Blazek, seconded by Councillor Andreessen. Any discussion or debate? All right, seeing none, let's have that vote. Councillor Anstett records a manual in favor vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's turn to 7-11. Councillor Rothwell.
Thanks very much, Mayor Todd, members of council. The reason I brought this forward is that Todd Kasenberg, as board chair, has brought forward the recommendation from our police services board for a resolution for consideration of support. I believe the wording is deeper investment into the mobile crisis response team model. And I believe it's important that this council pass such a resolution, which is on page 38 of our agenda, which is that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth supports in principle a joint or municipal delegation on behalf of the Perth County OPP Detachment Board at the 2026 Rural Ontario Municipal Association Conference with the appropriate ministers to advocate for continued and expanded provincial funding for the mobile crisis response team model as employed by the Perth County OPP and other Ontario OPP detachments. I believe this is important because there is a deadline to submit requests for delegations, and I'd be more than happy to put that motion forward. Thanks very much, Mayor Todd.
Thank you. So considered moved by Councillor Rothwell, seconder, Councillor Richardson. Thank you. Um, this is a fairly high-performing program, and it is being inadequately funded. So certainly we'd like the opportunity. Um, in talking to Mr. Hudson, who's the clerk of West Perth and serves as the secretary of the detachment board, it may be that West Perth will be the lead and file the application for delegation, but certainly they want to know whether the other municipalities affected by the police detachment board are interested in participation. And if West Perth chooses not to step forward and be the lead, certainly others who've passed this resolution can do so, to be sorted out, I think, between clerks and so forth in the next little bit. Any discussion or debate on this resolution? Seeing none, if we can have a vote on that one. Councillor Nordum records a manual in favor vote, and with that, that's carried. Colleagues, thank you for that and for the other items that you raised from the agenda. Let's have a look then broadly at the consent agenda. Our enabling resolution as follows: that consent item 7.1 to 7.28 be received for information, and the minutes of the October 20th, 2025 regular council meeting be adopted. Moved by Deputy Mayor Callum, seconded by Councillor Blazek. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, all those in favor, let's have the vote. Sorry, I'm moving into manual mode. Police Detachment Board on the mind. And that is carried. Thank you. All right. It's now proposed that we move to item 8 on our agenda. We have no public meetings scheduled this evening that warrant a recess from council. So we will now receive a delegation from those with interest in our council's business or authority, specifically addressing matters on our agenda tonight, or as prearranged. I will remind the delegation that in accordance with this council's procedural bylaw, a total time of 10 minutes of presentation is permitted, following which I will, with the duration at my discretion, provide an opportunity for councillors to ask questions. Delegation is to present the topic declared on the submitted request for delegation form, and deviations from the topic are not acceptable to the chair or this council. The quorum is required. Further to my usual request that we maintain an atmosphere of respect of courtesy, of respect and courtesy, sorry, I'll remind those delegating that they should not use the names of those who have not consented to such use. And so tonight we will hear from Amanda Gebhardt of the North Perth Dog Park Group, who wishes to speak regarding advances, things that are happening with the dog park. Welcome, Amanda, and to those from the group. I see you out there. I'm giving you the nod and wave.
I know, they're standing up here with me. Thank you for having me today. Just make sure I can work it. There we go. We are here with the North Perth Dog group. We are committee of volunteers working to create the first off-leash dog park in the municipality. The goal is to create more than just a fenced-in space for our dogs, but a really great place for both our pets and people. The group relaunched itself in about 2023, bringing together an amazing group of volunteers and long-term and new community members. And we have commenced implementation plans, and we are ready to go. The purpose of the delegation is to update you on our progress to date and also to request support for developing access and parking infrastructure to make the park a safe, inclusive, and accessible space for all residents. So why is the dog park important to North Perth? Through our community growth, we are seeing not only more people, but more homes with smaller yards and no yards at all. Increasing need for spaces for our pets. And we're seeing this pressure on our sports fields, our schoolyards, and our trails. But a dog park wouldn't be just about the dogs. One of the amazing things about this committee is that most of us signed on to volunteer because we were looking for a place to connect with people. We wanted to volunteer in our community, get more involved, and really just meet and hang out. And through our activities and the events we're having, we're seeing more like-minded people who are really drawn to our projects, and really confirming that it's not just about the dogs, although they think it is. It's about us and where we live and the place we want to be. This is some of the comments that we've received from outreach that we put out to rally support for one of our grant applications. A dog park is a vital component of our community's recreational amenities. A need no different than our sports fields and our playgrounds. I think you have one comment here who talks about their fur babies. Not all of us have playground babies. The vision for the project is to have a wonderful community destination, our place for our pets to play, socialize, features to encourage stimulation and play and strengthen the community bonds and our dog's behavior. And really looking for a space that can also be programmed and rented, and it could be puppy classes or puppy birthdays, in a way just that we can serve everyone in the community. Mhm. The project process to date in 2021, Council approved the concept of the dog park. Planning and fundraising began. We're planning the installation of the park in 2026, and then operation gates open by the end, late summer, fall of 2026. This is an image of the design plans. You'll see a large access road coming up to the dog park space beside the Steve Kerr Arena and Westfield School. Beautiful woodlot, naturalized place. It is, however, very far back. So one of the common concerns is like, is this in the middle of nowhere? How am I going to get there? I can't walk that far. Mobility issues, kids in tow, lots of reasons. So one of the things that we found as we were developing the design is really important is to actually get a road, not just a trail, but a road and a parking area so people can get back to the space, and also to create a little bit more foot traffic so it is safe for some of us users who may not feel comfortable to be there alone. We also see some really great benefits as this is a trailhead for all of the really great recreational and walking amenities that are back there. And also that in terms of official plans and showing a need for parking because there's going to be more amenities in the space. And up close to the design, you can see we've got 3 spaces for dogs, so that way we can divide large dogs, fast dogs, slow dogs, however we see the need to program the space, but a nice area in the center for rentals and small dogs. And we envision a place with meadows and trees, and so it's not just a mown, manicured park space, but a naturalized playground for our pets. We have put together a cost estimate. And this is partially a materials list, but also to show costs. Materials list because we're really hoping community will come forward and help us by donations or volunteer to install some of these items. But some of the large components, About $40,000 worth of fencing needs to be installed. About $60,000 would cover the granular roadway, which we hope maybe at some point could be upgraded to asphalt if it needed to be, as well as some other amenities that were required through the council's request. Initially would be temporary water and then potentially plumbed in the future. We really took a conservative approach to this estimate and what we were planning in the design. It could easily be a $500,000 dog park, but we're coming in at $150,000 to get this installed through a combination of volunteer efforts, donated materials, and contractor labor. In terms of a funding source approach, and I apologize, it's not as clear as we were hoping, but we have events and sales. Events have just started. If you're out for a Halloween costume party, and we have two more plans throughout the year, as well as other advertising and donor sale opportunities, which we're hoping to cover about $40,000. Donations, which we are hoping to cover $10,000 of our budget, and then grant applications and partnerships. So these include everything from, we have 2 pending grants right now, which would cover a large portion of this, as well as our current request to council to help fund the roadway that we're here today. So our progress, we have been busy. We have had photo shoots and dog walks and open houses and all kinds of fun things. And what this has done is really created awareness and increasing demand. And we are seeing a lot of people get excited about this, which is fantastic. We've received 1 grant so far and several donations, pending grants, Trillium Mutual Grant and the Commonwealth Mutual Grant application. Timeline, we have already started. We have already started clearing the site. We have removed some of the smaller poopy trees. We have left some really big, beautiful trees out there. We have cleared and mowed and started to prepare the space. We've staked out the space so the community can see what it looks like and really started to get it ready. We hope to not have to grade and do all kinds of crazy activities. We just want to make the space how it is because it's really beautiful. So we really hope to be able to add fencing and some mulch and hit the ground running. The fundraising, our last event, our first event kicked off in October. We have another plan for January and one for the spring, which will include a doggy treat Easter egg hunt, and I'm very excited. Installing the roadway, we really feel this needs to go first. It's something that has to happen before the park is built because access for everyone is critical. And then fencing and gates, we're hoping to get enough funding that Doug and I don't have to put that in ourselves. And hopefully that will start in summer 2026. Next steps. We have now entered the fundraising phase, as I mentioned, and construction as soon as the funding is secured. We are looking for support from the town that would help us to make an accessible dog park. The road is a little out of reach for our funding. We could do a trail that would allow people to walk, but we don't really feel it's enough. Having an accessible roadway and parking back there, we feel is really important. I went really fast by that request. Sorry. So in terms of our requests, we're looking to the town to design and install a granular access roadway, two-way traffic, and parking area in the spring or summer of 2026. We want to determine if the town would like to set a fundraising target before they install or start planning for the roadway. And we are happy to meet you on that, but we are really hoping that we can get your support and commitment for that roadway. And then we also are looking for a little side ask here to confirm support for continuing our pop-up dog parks. We trialed this for our costume party, and it was a really great success. People had such a great time, and we would like to continue doing that in the town park spaces until the park is ready. And thank you. And with a few minutes left, Doug, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Not really.
Oh, he's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda and team, for your presentation. Colleagues, questions or comments? Councillor Andreessen first.
Thank you through you, Mayor Kasenberg, and thank you, Amanda, for your report. Sounds like you've been working hard with your committee. It's exciting. I was looking at the one slide, but I wasn't really clear. What to date have you raised through grants and through fundraising so far?
I believe we're sitting at a little under $5,000. So we've just commenced. The grant total out there is for about 70. I think we've got one in for 50 and 50 and about another 30 that we're pending. Hmm.
Anyone else? Okay. Okay, Councillor Blazek.
Thank you. Through your man, Heisenberg. I don't have a dog, but I love dogs so much, and I think that this is really commendable, and I very much appreciate all of the hard work that I know that you guys have been putting in. I am not prepared to support any of this today, but I would, if permitted, like to request a report from staff. Two reports. One about the feasibility of allowing you guys to continue to have your pop-up dog parks and what that looks like for the municipality as far as liability and work involved. And of course, a report from our operations department on the ability to build a road and if we can fit that into our 2026 budget.
Before we consider that as a resolution, any other questions or comments of the delegate? Okay. So, Councillor Blazek, thank you, Amanda. Councillor Blazek has proposed that we ask for staff direction to prepare a report on two topics. First, the feasibility of continuing the pop-ups, and second, the feasibility and cost and all the parameters, essentially, of building the road that has been proposed. Let's consider a resolution then to that effect. I assume that staff can help us finish the thinking on the resolution there. And I'm going to consider that Councillor Blazek, who's been busy tonight, is serving as mover of this. Can I call for a seconder? Councillor Andreessen, thank you. So on the floor is a resolution. Any comments, questions, discussion, debate on this? I'm excited about this. Certainly when I first came into the chair and leading up to that, the campaigning that I did in this community, it was the top 2 or 3 issues in town. People wanted a dog park. And so here we are, we're seeing a dynamic team of volunteers who are pushing it. I got to visit the site this summer and was excited to see where it's going to be, but can certainly acknowledge and am interested, certainly in staff's response to the issue of a road there. And I think it behooves us from an accessibility point of view to be thinking about this fairly significantly. So I appreciate the update from your team. Thank you for all the work that you're doing and will continue to do. I got to get you a tech. I look forward to seeing this realized in the near future, maybe even before my term is done as mayor. That would be exciting. All right. Anyone else with comments? All right. We have a duly moved and seconded resolution on the floor. Let's have that vote.
I'm in favor.
Councillor Richardson records a manual in favor vote. Councillor Duncan is recording a manual in favor vote as well. And Deputy Mayor Kellum records a manual in favor vote. And with that, we have 10 of us saying yes. Thank you to the group again. Thank you to Council for endorsing a resolution on this matter. And we look forward to some great things now as the staff brings back its report first to help us think straight about it. All right, that brings us to item 9 on our agenda. First up is an item from the Environmental Services Department. In item 9.1.1, Council receives a report on a process of consultation that it has requested related to the introduction of the specialized or diverted processing of organic and yard waste in North Perth. We welcome North Perth Deputy CAO Sandy Little, pinch hitting tonight for Mark Hackett, our Manager of Environmental Services, to catch us up on this and propose some next steps. Ms. Little, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and community. Mark was suddenly not able to attend council this evening, so I will be presenting on his behalf. At the March 24th council meeting, staff was directed to organize an organic waste options public information center and to develop an organic waste options survey to gather public input on a possible organic waste program, to be followed by a report to council detailing the results of the PIC and the survey. The PIC was held on June 25th at the Steve Kerr Memorial Complex with two sessions. Representatives from the Blue Water Recycling Association and Try Recycling were in attendance to provide information and answer questions. Approximately 30 residents attended. Staff also conducted an online survey through Your Say North Perth, which ran from May 1st to July 1st. The focus of the survey was to understand residents' preferences, practices, and priorities regarding composting and organic waste management options. The survey outlined two options to consider for reducing organic waste. Option number one was a weekly curbside green bin collection. It would include food and yard waste, picked up on a weekly basis, available to urban areas, 240-liter green bin, which is about a medium-sized bin. It was suggested that participation would have to be mandatory for all eligible households in urban areas, allowing the program costs to be shared to ensure the program remained affordable and sustainable. Option two, home-based composting. Two options were presented: countertop composter, which is a compact electric unit, an indoor solution that transforms food waste into a garden-ready supplement, or as well as a green cone digester, solar, an in-ground unit that uses solar heat to break down food waste. And participation in home-based programs would be optional. Staff promoted the PIC and the survey through social media platforms as well as on the municipal website. Additionally, environmental services staff also attended Listowel's Lifestyle Show on May 9th and 10th at the Steve Kerr. The survey received a total of 665 responses from the community. The online responses represented 99% of the total submissions, with 8 hard copy responses also being collected. Urban residents comprised 92% of the respondents to the survey. The majority of respondents came from homeowners or homeowners and business owners. When asked if residents currently compost at home, 72% said they did not. Most respondents indicated that they currently dispose of food waste in their garbage. When asked if residents currently dispose of leaf and yard waste, the majority of respondents indicated that they take their leaf and yard waste to the landfill, while others use the annual curbside leaf pickup or the garbage. When determining the factors that are most important when choosing a composting option, 377 respondents indicated cost, 344 noted convenience, and 243 specified it was important to maintain the current garbage recycling schedule and frequency. The preferred option indicated from the survey results is a weekly curbside green bin collection service, 46%, followed by the home composting option, which was about 27%. The remainder of respondents, about 27%, did not support either of the options or have other opinions regarding composting. More detailed information about the survey results are attached to the report. There are some key considerations, as well as some several benefits of an organic waste program. The first is a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. Diverting 1 ton of food waste for composting reduces GHG emissions by approximately 1 ton of CO2 equivalent to landfill. Preservation of landfill capacity. The current calculated landfill capacity is about 68 years, and the estimated landfill capacity savings for green bin program would be about 4 years. Home-based composting could potentially save about 2 years of landfill capacity. It really depends on the participation rate. There are several other impacts associated with offering an organic program. The curbside collection program would see organics and yard waste collected on a weekly basis, while the frequency of garbage collection would have to move to bi-weekly basis. The addition of a bin for organics may also result in a storage space concern for some residents. The home-based program implementation viability may require the municipality to consider providing a subsidy to participants. The disposal of the byproduct from the countertop units in use at apartments could require depot-style bins.
And finally, the proposed changes to the province's Blue Box program may have an impact on the timing of the potential implementation of an organic program in North Perth. Effective January 1st, 2026, the province has indicated that small industrial, commercial, and institutional, or ICI, collection will no longer be provided by the producer responsibility organizations. Blue Water Recycling Association has committed to continuing to collect ICI material as they always have. And they have also committed to absorb the additional costs to provide this service in 2026, giving the municipality time to fully understand the changes and time to prepare for the additional cost increases to take effect in 2027. We did receive additional information from BRA regarding the operation of our convenience depot bins just last week, and a report will be brought forward to Council in the coming months to discuss the program changes and the rollout of the new Blue Box program. Financial implications are really dependent on the organic composting option that we choose. For the green bin program, to make the curbside green bin organic collection service financially feasible, it would require mandatory participation. Staff estimate the green bin service could be provided to North Perth residents for an additional annual cost of about $50 to $75 per household. This would be in addition to the annual curbside waste collection costs. The proposed green bin program collection costs are heavily influenced by North Perth's geographic location. Of the 22 municipal members of the Blue Water Recycling Association, North Perth is the furthest collection point from the BRA recycling facility located in Huron Park. Organics collected in North Perth would then need to be transported to be processed in London. A total round trip distance of about 200 kilometers would be required, and that does not include the time spent on collection. Environmental Services staff are currently investigating opportunities to reduce transportation costs. The potential does exist to operate a transfer station at the Elma landfill, which would allow bulk transport of organic waste to the processing facility versus sending individual BRA collection trucks. If the opportunity to reduce costs is feasible, further analysis will be required. In addition, the Elma Landfill Environmental Compliance Approval, or the ECA, and the Design, Operation, Monitoring, and Maintenance Plan would need to be amended to allow the implementation of a transfer station. For a home-based program, the home-based options could be made available to rural and urban residents. Participation would not be mandatory. Both home-based options include an upfront cost to the program participant and potentially to the municipality as well, should a municipal subsidy be approved. Additionally, the countertop unit requires ongoing filter replacements valued at about $75 annually. I would be happy to try and attempt to answer any questions you may have or aim to provide additional clarification in the future as appropriate.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Little. Colleagues, questions, comments? Councillor Nordum?
Thanks for the report, through you, Mike Ginsberg. Thanks for the report, Deputy CAO. Just curious, if we do have, I'm very interested in this recommendation, but would the bulk transport of organic matter still have to go to London, or could it go to, say, Treat in Arthur? I believe that's probably 40 minutes away from the landfill, or would it still have to be going down to London? Thanks.
Through the mayor to Councillor Nordum, it's my understanding that it would still have to go to London. There's set processes in place, but we could certainly confirm that should council move forward with the recommendation and a future report be brought forward.
Okay, anyone else with questions? Councillor Andreessen?
Thank you through you, Mayor Kasenberg. I'm just wondering, for clarification purposes, the fee of between $50 to $75, I'm assuming that would be through the levy, like through taxes. Is that? I'm just not clear on that. Thank you.
Through the mayor to Councillor Andreessen, it's my understanding that yes, it would be added to the levy, similar to how residents receive their tax bills now with kind of an itemized that shows, it would be added to that same section of the tax bills.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Councillor Rothwell.
Thanks very much for your time, and thanks very much for the report. And I want to thank Mark Hackett and the environmental services staff for their work on the public information sessions. I did attend the session back when things were nice and warm in June, and there was robust conversation at those meetings. There's many people that have expressed their opinions, and I appreciate this is a fairly significant response rate that we've had using USA North Perth, and we've engaged not everyone's on side for the specific options that are before us. I think cost is the critical issue in terms of the daily, or pardon me, the collection, the curbside collection. And I think anything that we can have from staff that will actually verify those numbers and what it could do to reduce the per household cost may very well tip the scale in our urban areas specifically is what we were talking about. And I would certainly be in support of that. We would then also be talking about the other home options that could be available to members of the public, separate and distinct from the curbside collection. As I understand from the report, is that anyone that would want to have a green room, which is available now, would pay for that individually. Likewise, the food cycle, they would pay for that individually. Save and accept if this council chooses to have some sort of incentive to offset those costs. But certainly to look at the daily or the curbside collection of the green bin, I think it's very important that we request staff for proceed with the recommendation to have staff prepare a report. Thank you.
Thanks. I want to clarify something, so if you can help with this. So if council chases the green bin approach and adopts this as the standard for the municipality, then every household that is in the urban areas will find this new fee attached to their, and they could choose above and beyond that if they wanted a food cycler or a recycling cone in their backyard, they could choose to do so, but they're still paying the whatever that price tag is. Am I right about that?
To you, Mayor, that is correct. It would be mandatory for the green bin program.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure I was clear. Anyone else? Councillor Nordham.
Thanks, Mayor Kasenberg, and secondary on my end. So the urban area, so we're talking Listowel, Atwood, Moncton, would we also be including, say, Gallenstown, Kurtzville, some of the villages as well?
Through the mayor to Councillor Nordham, it's my understanding it's the urban area and the hamlets, but I would have to confirm with Mr. Hackett with regards to whether that includes the smaller hamlets as well. But that could be included as part of the report should council choose to move forward with that recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else with questions or first comments? Councillor Richardson.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Kasenberg. As much as I can appreciate the wanting to go green and to do everything, to put a mandatory charge onto our residents and also with the space that's in there and diverting the garbage collection bi-weekly, I can see that being a little problematic for quite a number of residents because if you have a big recycling bin, big garbage bin, and then you've got another medium-sized bin that's there, and if you make it mandatory and to get it, I know there's going to be some places that are going to be running out of room because you have two bins already, and now we have three out there, and if it's done every week and every third week, depending on when they do the recycling, we're going to be wheeling out three bins. I'm not. I would be interested to possibly read a little bit more about it, but I'm not necessarily in favor of making that mandatory for that home-based voluntary program. I think would be more equitable in my mind, but I'm just trying to think of residents and also forcing a mandatory charge on them. If you get single people who hardly fill up a recycling bin, they're going to have a heck of a time filling up a medium-sized bin for a green bin. That's my opinion. A little different for a family of four or five, but A lot of single people out there live by themselves. Be a long time filling that bin up, even though we would get weekly delivery. My 2 cents.
Thank you. Anyone else with comments or questions at this point? All right, I have a staff proposed recommendation as follows that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth directs staff to prepare a report outlining the feasibility of implementing an organics and yard waste transfer station at the Ella landfill. And I'm going to assume that it includes the notion that Councillor Nordham perhaps raised as well about the transfer not to London but to alternative locations. So perhaps we can sort of include that notion in this wording, exploring the final destination of the recyclable material. Okay, can I call for a mover? Councillor Nordham, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Andreessen. Any discussion or debate further on this? Councillor Blazik, please.
Thank you through your Mayor Keisenberg. Hypothetically, if council were to vote down this recommendation today, where does that leave this green bill or organic waste project that we're working on? Does it then become dead in the water, or where do we go from there?
Through the mayor to Councillor Blazik. Great question. So it's my understanding if council was to vote down this, the intent behind the recommendation this evening is to give staff the opportunity to go ahead and explore a little bit further so that we can provide kind of that full picture for council to be able to make the final decision. Especially in terms of exploring the possibility of a transfer station. If council was to vote it down tonight, then we would assume that the direction is to kind of discontinue looking into the possible green bin program any further. But as mentioned, the intent of the recommendation is so that staff can explore it just a little bit further to be able to see whether or not we can reduce the costs. Are there, any other options? We want to make sure, and I can attest to the fact that Mark Hackett and his staff have really taken this exploration of this possible program very seriously. They've looked at a number of different options. They're just looking for some additional direction to explore it just a little bit further so that council has all the information they need in order to make that final decision. Hopefully that helps.
Anyone else? Councillor Andreessen.
Thank you through you, Mayor Kiesenberg. Just to continue the conversation around the home-based opportunity for composting, one of the things that's sparking my interest is that this actually supports rural families too. And believe it or not, I don't think all or many rural families are composting as much as we think they might be. And by having a home based program with a unit, it might be more helpful for them to be more successful at it. So I'm just saying, in terms of the report, I'm just wondering if in the report that could continue to be investigated as well as another secondary option, um, for them to come forward, because I think we need to really think this through a little bit deeper again and continue to look at what are some options for our rural residents too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have a resolution on the floor. Let me just sort of turn to the mover and seconder on this one. So, Councillor Nordham, what's your thought? Can we add and that to this?
Yep, I would be willing to edit the resolution.
Okay, so seconder was where? Councillor Andreessen. Okay, so I don't think there's a problem there then. I'm making an educated guess. All right, so we should update the resolution, I think, if council consents to that generally. Okay. Okay. With that update, I think the implication to your question, Councillor Blazek, is then that staff has a little bit more rope, if you will, to explore this further. If the resolution then is defeated, I think we're making a clear statement that we don't have interest in filling this void at this point. Okay, that would be my read. Okay, any further discussion or debate on this? All right, can I ask the clerk's table to read back what you've got at this point?
Through you, Mayor Kisenberg, we have that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth directs staff to prepare a report outlining the feasibility of implementing an organics and yard waste transfer station at the Alma landfill, and that the report include options of alternate locations as well as the inclusion of options for rural properties in the home-based program.
Okay, thank you. I think that captures sort of what was talked about. All right, anyone wanting last comments on this before we consider have a vote? All right, seeing no further comments, let's have that vote. Councillor Duncan records in favor. All right. And with that, that is carried. Thank you, Ms. Little, for your pinch-hitting tonight. All right, let's turn to item 9.2, reports and requested actions from the Operations Department. Item 9.2.1, staff bring forward a report that proposes the naming of 2 lanes in Listowel Ward that somehow have escaped being named. Council is being asked to consider a proposal that provides the names of 2 early women leaders in this community to these lanes. GIS technician Jenny Roth has worked on this file for us and is here to present an overview. Ms. Roth, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Kisenberg, and good evening, members of council, staff. So during our recent administrative review for amending the municipal addressing bylaw, it came to our attention that there are 2 open road allowances in Listowel located between Wallace Avenue North and Argyle Avenue North that currently lack official road names. So in compliance with the North Perth Municipal Addressing Procedure Manual, the naming of these roads requires approval from council. According to section 4.22 of the manual, at least 50% of proposed names must be selected from the historic road name inventory. Before selecting any names from the inventory, we sought to ensure that each name held significance to the local area. Our intention was not to assign names arbitrarily, but rather to select names that reflect the character, history, and identity of the community. Through collaboration with the Perth County Archives, a significant historical connection was uncovered. One of the unnamed road allowances is adjacent to the former site of Listowel's first hospital at 445 Wallace Avenue North. This hospital was established in March of 1910 by 2 nurses, Miss Tolton and Miss Schneider, who operated the facility independently. While the hospital initially functioned as a private facility, it is believed that its success played a pivotal role in establishing a larger public institution like the Listowel Memorial Hospital. The 2 nurses supplied and fully equipped the hospital at their own expense, a remarkable undertaking for 2 determined women of that era. To honor the nurses' contributions, it is proposed that we name these road allowances as follows: Tolton Lane and Schneider Lane. Schneider Lane is a name that is already included on our current historical road name inventory in our municipal addressing bylaw. The financial impact associated with naming these lanes pertains to the purchase of the installations of the new intersection signs, and the estimated cost to supply and install the signage is around $400. There are available funds in the 2025 operating budget to cover these expenditures. It should also be noted that these lanes are currently maintained by the municipality. So I'm seeking council's approval for the proposed names Dalton Lane and Schneider Lane, and names that have been selected to recognize and celebrate our community's history and our heritage. Thank you for consideration, and happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Roth. Colleagues, questions or first comments on this matter? I'm not seeing any, so I have a resolution as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth approves the request from municipal staff to establish the following names for 2 unnamed road allowances in Listowel. Road allowance A, Tolton Lane. Road allowance B, Schneider Lane. Can I call for a mover? Moved by Councillor Blazek, seconded by Councillor Richardson. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. Councillor Duncan records an in favor, manual in favor vote. And with that, that is carried. Thank you so much, Ms. Roth, for your work on this and for the little wander through history that was associated with it. We appreciate that. As item 9.2.2, Council is presented with the outcomes of a peer review of the County of Perth's Regional Road Rationalization Report that was commissioned by this Council. Manager of Operations Marty Ropp is with us to take us, Matt Ropp. Where did that come from? My brain is glitching tonight. To take us through the analysis by the peer expert and to help us frame next actions, Mr. Ropp. Mr. Matt Ropp.
Mr. Matthew Ropp, yes.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor Kasenberg and members of council and staff. On August 11th, staff from Perth County attended North Perth Council to present their road rationalization report. The report was intended to identify the most appropriate county road network. In 2024, North Perth also had the opportunity to provide the county with local roads to be included in the study. The findings of the study did not recommend any North Perth roads to be uploaded to the county at this time. At the same council meeting, a resolution was passed by this council directing staff to prepare a report in response to the Perth County study. Joining me tonight is Julia Salvini from Salvini Consulting, who has provided a peer review of the study and recommendation on pathways forward. So without further ado, I will pass the microphone over to Julia.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone. Nice to see you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, staff. Thank you for having me here tonight. The letter of peer review that I provided on the report was attached to Mr. Ropp's report in your council agenda. I want to give you a few highlights, and then I welcome any questions you might have about it. So I did review the Perth Road Rationalization Study. I also reviewed the Listowel Bypass Comprehensive Assessment that Triton Engineering also prepared in concert because they're very much linked to one another. And my high level review is that when I look at the road rationalization study, it's been done in a way that's very consistent with other studies of this nature across Ontario. It's been based on the way that the Ontario Good Roads has outlined a process for doing it, and then a number of other municipalities have sort of tweaked that process, and then Perth County did some tweaking of their own to address some local issues. To me, it looks very comprehensive. It looks consistent, but what it is not is a forward-looking document. It's intended to assess the road network the way it is today. So I wasn't really surprised that they didn't pick up on the roads that we were talking about and that this council put forward to them to become county roads, because that's not the way that they're operating today. We're talking about a future-looking sort of operation of those roads, in particular those that were suggested for the truck routes in the North Perth Transportation Master Plan. And so, in my review, what I suggested is that we really need to work with our colleagues at Perth County to develop something more forward-looking that looks at those roads and looks at how they operate in the context of the broader transportation network in the county and specifically in the municipality of North Perth. And so, in the midst of that, staff are very concerned because a number of these road segments are due to be upgraded or reconstructed in the next 10 years. And so there's a timing issue at hand where we would love to work with the county and have the municipality work with the county to determine what the road network needs to look like in the future. But we do need it done within a certain amount of time before those roads need to be upgraded so that staff can make determination about what those roads need to look like. And so what I've recommended is that we would come here tonight and ask you to make a resolution to ask the county to do a transportation master plan like North Perth has, which is a forward-looking document that looks at where is the growth occurring, what are the transportation issues that need to be solved in the county over the next 10 to 20 years, and allows us to consider what the transportation network should look like in that time horizon and address some of these questions that are lingering. And so I don't know, did you want to share some of your discussions with county staff at all? Or
So just again to the mayor, a quick update. In recent conversations with the county from a staffing level, um, they're at this point looking at the feasibility and cost of implementing such theory themselves. So I just kind of want to bring that to your attention too. Um, and that from a staff to staff level, those conversations have been had, and now may be the pertinent time from a council to council level for this council to kind of voice their strong opinion in the county, conducting a similar similar report such as we did with that transportation master plan. And that's basically how the resolution has been written.
All right. Thank you both. Colleagues, questions, first comments? Councillor Andreessen.
Thank you through you, Mayor Kasenberg, and thank you for your report. It was really helpful to see your comments in this. In in one of the sections here, it talked about we could either address our concerns through a county transportation master plan or a collaborative study around our transportation needs. I don't believe you commented on a collaborative study.
sure, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to comment through you. When I wrote this, we didn't know that the county was actually thinking about doing a transportation master plan, and to get at that timing issue, my recommendation was let's ask them to do it within a year to initiate it. So to initiate it means to develop terms of reference and get it out for RFP. But if they couldn't do that, that we would have to find some other tool to figure out what those roads need to look like to address this sort of 10-year horizon of road improvements. Um, I think what we had thought is, or I don't want to speak for Mr. Rob, but I think what he was thinking is if council supported the ask to make a request to Perth County Council to initiate the transportation master plan within a year, if they come back and say they're not going to do it, that's sort of the next step that we could take, would be to do something else to address those issues.
Secondary. Thank you. Just a secondary question through you, Mayor Kissenberg. I think that was our greatest disappointment was that we were really wanting to see what the forward-looking approach was for our road system in collaboration with the county, and I think that was the frustration. And if moving forward, there could be that transportation master plan through the county that would definitely be helpful for us as a council, and I would certainly see that as helpful and support that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Andreessen. Anyone else with questions or first comments? Councillor Rothwell.
Thanks very much, Mayor Todd, and thank you, Matt and Ms. Salvini, for the presentation. Again, when the county made its county staff made their presentation about the road rationalization study, I shared Councillor Andreessen's point that this council was concerned that it was not forward-looking as opposed to what the road rationalization study was intended to do. The study did what it was supposed to do in terms of the Ontario Good Roads Association, what their criteria is, and so on. So our hope as this council, we express that hope and the frustration that we could come forward. So I appreciate the staff have come forward with this report and have already had preliminary discussions with county staff. I don't believe that this will be a surprise coming forward from this council through to Perth County Council. Certainly from the staffing level, I believe they were anticipating that we were going to be coming forward with this type of request. And I really hope that county staff and North Perth staff can work collaboratively together for the benefit of all of Perth County and North Perth, specifically in this case, in our case, but for elsewhere as well, that our needs going into the future are substantial. And the reason why our transportation master plan took time and effort is to try to address those issues, which we've talked about specifically, have been discussed and talked about for well over 60 years, probably closer to 70, I believe, is what the conversation was. So, if not then now, and I'm certainly in support of the proposed resolution in Mr. Rob's report. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else with comments or questions at this point? All right, I have a resolution prepared for us for consideration as follows. The Council of the Municipality of North Perth receives the Road Rationalization Study Peer Review Report for your information and directs the clerk to provide the findings to the County of Perth. And that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth requests that the County of Perth proceeds with a transportation master plan with a terms of reference and request for proposals in 2026 that considers the future use of the road network in the county generally and in North Perth specifically, given anticipated growth in the county. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Rothwell, seconded by Councillor Johnston. Thank you. Any discussion or debate? Councillor Rothwell.
Thanks very much, Mayor Todd. And certainly, if council votes in favor of this, I'm very hopeful that our three members of the county council will speak on our behalf in support of this motion. I'm sure they will, to convince fellow county councilors of the importance of proceeding on this forward-looking document. County council took years to come forward with a county official plan, which does look forward into the future. So a transportation master plan will do the same. And hopefully take far less time, but again, it's very focused in terms of the road network, and I'm certainly in support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rothwell. Anyone else? Let's see any further comments. Let's have that vote. We're missing one. There we go. And that is carried. Thank you. All right. The appropriate Mr. Ropp is up again for item 9.2.3. And Ms. Salvini, thank you for attending tonight. Council is presented with the opportunity to make what to me looks a little bit like a challenging decision about winter maintenance of our sidewalks and parking lots. For now, the recommendation is to direct staff to bring back a more fulsome report on a few options that are available to us. So, Mr. Ropp, you're up again.
Good evening again, Council. Unfortunately, we're here to talk about snow tonight. But I am here to update you on some winter maintenance levels of service for sidewalks and municipally owned parking lots. Focusing on sidewalks first. As I'm sure you may have noticed, there was another 400 meters of sidewalk added to the network in Listowel this summer. The location of the new sidewalk was on Metro Road South in front of the Zehrs and Walmart plazas. This matters because our goal is to keep North Perth equitable and accessible for all modes of transportation throughout the winter. Sidewalk levels of service are governed by the Ontario Minimum Maintenance Standards Regulation, or MMS, as I'll refer to later in my report. If a municipality chooses a lower level of service than the MMS, council must adopt that level through bylaw. Our current sidewalk level service is set out in bylaw 153-2017, so a few years old, and focuses on primary and secondary sidewalk routes around educational, medical, and main commercial areas, with maintenance occurring Monday to Friday and limited response on weekends and holidays. Adding this 400 meters of new sidewalk to the Listowel road will increase the total length to 37.5 kilometers that are maintained with 2 sidewalk plows. The desired route length for 1 plow is approximately 15 kilometers. As you can tell, we're already above that distance with continued pressure to keep expanding the winter operation. Further increases to the existing route lengths will add to cycle times and contribute to declining service without expansions to our operations. To give council an understanding of future operational impacts, staff have prepared 3 pathways for consideration that balance safety, accessibility, and fiscal responsibility. Option 1, which you see on the screen in front of you, this option continues with current municipally maintained routes at the existing council adopted level of service. Pros to this approach include they offer stability to current operations with no immediate budget impacts. Cons to this, we will miss opportunities to optimize routes, in addition to the networks will continue to lower the level of service. And you can see what that looks like today. So approximately 37.5 kilometers are maintained by the municipality and 18.5 are not enlistable, with Atwood and Moncton also being shown in the table. Option 2 would see the municipality redefine maintain routes to include sidewalks adjacent to arterial, collector, and selected local roads serving education, medical, and commercial areas. All remaining sidewalks not included in the definition become the responsibility of the fronting property owner. Pros of this approach, it aligns municipal efforts to the highest priority sidewalks and raises service to meet minimum maintenance standards at the lowest budget impact. Cons to this approach, it does result in less sidewalks being maintained than previous by the municipality, and also will require a municipal bylaw to enforce property owners to maintain sidewalks fronting their properties. Under this option, you can see the municipality will be maintaining 29.5 kilometers, with 26.5 being the responsibility of fronting property owners. The distances at Atwood and Moncton remain the same as in option 1. Preliminary operating impacts include 2 seasonal operators and additional winter materials that could total in excess of $50,000 annually to the operating budget. Finally, option 3, looking at this option includes expanding winter maintenance to all sidewalks accessible to plows, so anything that is wider than 1.2 meters, while all remaining sidewalks would be the responsibility of fronting property owner. The pro to this approach is it's the highest accessible and provides the most mobility outcomes across the network. Cons of this option require significant investments in equipment, staffing, materials, and facilities, while still requiring municipal bylaws to enforce owners with fronting sidewalks 1.2 meters or narrower. What coverage would look like for this option? As you can see, there's a significant amount of coverage provided by the municipality, up to 52.8 kilometers, while 3.2 kilometers in municipal are under that 1.2 meter threshold, and a slight increase in Atwood and Moncton as well. Preliminary capital and operating impacts by including 2 sidewalk plows, 2 additional full-time and 4 seasonal operators, as well as additional materials and storage and building improvements, we could be seeing increases in excess of $1 million. That's a lot. Let's shift our focus to parking lots for a minute. Parking lot levels of service are not covered by the MMS. However, under Occupiers Liability Act, we must take reasonable care to keep premises reasonably safe. To ensure consistency across our municipality-owned parking lots, staff are recommending creating a municipal parking lot winter maintenance level of service. In general, this would include how we deal with snow and ice conditions on parking lots that we own. To give you an idea of what this would look like, for snow, after a snowfall event ends, we would reduce the accumulation to 8 centimeters or less within 48 hours. And for ice, we would monitor the conditions. And if there's a substantial probability of ice, we would treat where practical to improve traction within 48 hours. There are no financial impacts associated with defining this level of service, as we currently meet the standard during winter events. So before you tonight, there are 4 recommendations, one being that we received the report for information. The second recommendation is the direction to staff to return with future bylaw amendments to our current bylaw that would maintain our level of service for this upcoming winter season, and it would include the additional 400 meters of sidewalk, as I mentioned previously. The third recommendation would be to direct staff to return at a future date with an implementation strategy for option 2 or 3, and including detailed financials, staffing plans, and timelines. And finally, the fourth recommendation is directing staff to amend the current bylaw to incorporate a municipal parking lot winter maintenance level of service. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Roth. All right, colleagues, questions, first comments? Councillor Blazik.
Thank you through your Mary Kusenberg. In the morning on my carpooling lots of children to and from school, and in the afternoon, there are a lot of kids walking down McDonald Street and Rogers Road to access that walkway by the Kin Park. Which of your options gets that sidewalk plowed? There's a lot of kids walking on the road.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm I'm looking at the proper location. So through the mayor, just want to confirm, you're talking about the sidewalk that runs from the Kin Park to Westfield?
I'm talking about the sidewalk along McDonald Street West, all the way down Rogers Road, that eventually leads to the Kin Park.
Okay. So currently, right now, that sidewalk is covered under option 1. So we plow that currently. It's a secondary road, so it gets its priority happens after the priority roads are plowed.
Okay. Secondary. Can we? What option allows us to get that to be prioritized or moved up? Is there an option that allows us? But just there's a lot of kids walking on the road.
Yep. Yeah. And this is a problem we're faced with through the mayor is we're doing a lot with a little bit. And that was the premise of option 2 is actually doing less and providing better service on the sidewalks that we maintain. Option 3 would, providing the same level of service on all sidewalks. So there may be a transitional strategy there that we could deploy. Obviously, we're on the doorsteps of the winter season this year, and that was kind of the way we can, if council wishes, we can proceed through these options. But given the way that the roads are configured today with the equipment that we have and staffing resources, we're still focusing on our priority areas, which is our downtown school zones and some of our priority commercial areas, such as the hospital. So to try and prioritize other areas, which means we'll be taking away from other areas, unfortunately, currently.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Andreessen is next.
Thank you through you, Mayor Kiesenberg. Mr. Rob, I just have a question about option 2. So if we went with option 2, it said that in the report that there would be homeowners that would still have to uh, shovel, so to speak, right? Shovel sidewalks. Would that be a change for many, or would that just be just not adding on more? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, would there be any case where all of a sudden they have to shovel and they didn't have to before? Does that make sense?
Yep. Through the mayor. So with that and the option 2 map that's in there, so there would be streets that are municipally plowed now that on option 2 would not be maintained by municipality moving forward. So we're refocusing our priority areas to arterial roads, collector roads, and then these local roads that are adjacent to our schools. So not to reference without putting you on the spot, but McDonald, Rogers, those would turn into priority roads that we could maintain with municipal resources.
Okay. Secondary to that, so you make Mayor Kiesenberg, I guess. One of my concerns is what will be the community response when all of a sudden, person A always had their sidewalk cleaned and now they have to do it. It just will cause some confusion. I'm just concerned about that part of it, and I know that's not the right answer. It's just I just have concerns about that by our residents, and will they get it, and will they be upset because now they're on deck with shovels? So
Yeah. Through the mayor again, maybe an appropriate answer to that would be is we face the same situation that we have today when we bring on new areas within town or new development that, there's streets or roads that function as collector or adjacent to main priority areas as we set today, and we just don't have the resources to maintain or add them to that rate. And I'm sure some of you as well myself, we received those phone calls last winter asking if we can add additional resources and equipment to some streets, and we're at our max as of we start this winter, or as we start today, we're at our max. So it's really important of trying to think how we're going to tackle this one in the years ahead as we continue to grow.
Thank you. Just a hold on. Councillor Anstey next. Thank you, Mayor Kasenberg. Through you, and thanks, Matt. I know it's a tough issue, tough subject, and every year we deal with this. It seems to snow every year. Just looking at option one, can you just refresh my memory? How long have we had this current route?
Uh, so the bylaw was brought in 2017, and I was able to find a report in 2019 from Mr. Couch, and that was the last time we added, I believe it was around 5 kilometers to this road. So we've been about the same configuration for the past 5 to 6 winter seasons.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And secondary, if I may, Mark Kasenberg. Option three, significant amount of money that would need to be spent. In terms of timing, I know you mentioned in your report you need to have some timing and budgetary approvals, those sorts of things. Realistically, could you have option three in place before it snows potentially next week or 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now? Or?
Through the mayor, that's a pretty easy answer. The answer is no. To source equipment, we're multiple months away, even if we got the green light today, which I don't want to stress out my treasurer sitting back there. There's a lot of lead time in talking about facility needs too. There could be some long-term planning that we need to make sure we've got everything figured out before we make that proposal.
Thank you. Thanks. Deputy Mayor Callan, then Councillor Johnston.
Yes, thank you for you, Mayor Kasenberg. Thank you for your presentation, Matt. I'm kind of on the same page as Leanne, whether I don't want to reduce any services. We are growing so rapidly, and we're here to serve, and people are expecting their sidewalks to be plowed. As we had a conversation earlier last year, I have a list of sidewalks I'd like to be added to it. So it's always an uphill battle. But my view on this is I don't want to reduce any services at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I agree with that we cannot shrink our services. And I think option three is a great option until you look at the $1 million price tag and we tell people we're going to add $1 million to the budget right after we're going to slap them $75 for a green bin that half of them aren't going to want either. So it's not going to go over well. But I think a phased in approach to get towards option three, in my opinion, is the best approach. And I agree. We can't have it ready in 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks we might be doing sidewalks. So I would think that if we can agree to this, and we keep looking at options three, and phase it in over 3 to 5 years, I think is the feasible way to go, and just do it slowly, as fast as you can.
I think that's new terminology. Slowly, as fast as you can. I like it. Okay. I have had the privilege over the course of my life of living in cities, of course, where the requirement is that the homeowners have to plow, shovel their own sidewalks, period. And in fact, at times it could become rather aggressive when my law enforcement officers showed up and said, "What's going on? Why aren't you doing it?" So I'm not sure. I'll have to concede that on a personal comfort level, I have enjoyed moving out to Atwood and not having the same responsibility that was held in Kitchener when I lived there and in previous locations as well. I think that certainly there are implications in Atwood. I think Councillor Duncan and I were exchanging glances there at some point because generally in Atwood, we don't show on our sidewalks. We let the kids and everybody else walk on the roads. And that's how it's sort of done in the winter, right? So notions that we might introduce a bylaw that says, okay, now everybody shovel your sidewalk, to Councillor Andreessen's comments, sound a little threatening. And certainly I appreciate the comments that some are saying. However, at the same time, we can't ignore a $1 million price tag is a 5% property tax increase at some point, whether it's done incrementally, as has been suggested by Councillor Johnston or otherwise. We are raising the price of living and the quality of life, too, in theory, or at least I'd argue we were, in doing this. So I think we should proceed carefully. It sounds to me there sounded like there was a growing consensus that two wasn't an option that this council really wants to consider. Two being the let's shrink the service from the current level. So am I right in saying that? Okay. I'm seeing lots of nods. I think enough nods to say that that would pass with the majority vote at this point. So I think we're going to amend your resolution just a little bit then when we get into the third and that, or the second and that, the third clause of the resolution. I'm going to propose to the clerk that we strike option two and direct that the resolution will read option three. But let me read the resolution into the record, I think, at this point with the revision that I'll make. Um, and if you have advice, colleagues, let's have it at that point. So the resolution reads as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth accepts the winter maintenance levels of service report for information, and that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth directs staff to return to Council with amendments to the Winter Maintenance Policy Bylaw 153-2017 that maintains the current level of service for sidewalk winter maintenance and updated routes in Schedule B for the 2025-2026 winter season. Pretty much status quo. And that the Council of the Municipality of North Park directs staff to return to Council at a future date with a report that considers implementation strategies and recommendations for sidewalk winter maintenance level of service as outlined in option 3 of this report. And that the Council of the Municipality of North Park directs staff to return to Council with an amendment to Winter Maintenance Policy Bylaw 153-2017 that incorporates a municipal parking lot winter maintenance level of service. Everyone okay with that? Any collaboration you want to change any of this? Councillor Andrews?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Kiesenberg. I just wondered about the additional taxing phased-in approach for option 3. Or no?
I think he's heard
Did you get that?
the
Okay.
message, and that would be due diligence from staff to give
Yeah.
us some implementation options. So I'm not too concerned about that one unless
I just thought for the general public that they would understand that it's to be phased in, but okay, thank you.
Councillor Duncan. Sure, go ahead.
Um, I guess I have a question, Mr. Rob. What is the liability of letting private citizens move snow off of our sidewalks?
Through the mayor, fortunately, I'm not a lawyer to answer that one wholeheartedly, but it is a municipally owned piece of infrastructure. There's also liability of us not maintaining that infrastructure. So there are two different approaches. Either you're, as a municipality, maintaining it, or you're through bylaw passing um, passing rules for other people to maintain it on your behalf. So unfortunately, I can't give a legal opinion, but I can definitely get one for council if you wish on that approach.
Yes, I guess the reason I asked that is one, if we would implement this bylaw, what sort of liability goes with having others maintain your sidewalks? And secondly, the second question is maybe we could encourage people to be good neighbors and move snow off the sidewalks, which would then therefore save time for municipal staff moving through some of these neighborhoods to move snow off the sidewalks and get them through their routes a little quicker, and maybe get some of these routes like Sarah speaks of plowed a little faster.
Yep, through the mayor, a good example of that. The municipality is actually meeting with a few of our local landscape contractors this week, just to talk about roads, priorities, to making sure we're not dumping snow on top of each other and we're not creating more work for each other. So we try to avoid examples such as you speak, where we come by and plow the sidewalk, and then the contractor comes in and removes it, and the landscape contractor comes in and puts it right back in. So we're competing for a valuable space of where the snow goes.
Okay. I think I'm hoping that the sort of inputs that we've had are just heard and will be adopted into the work that the staff will do to bring forward a report on this. Councillor Rothwell, do you have a comment?
Thanks very much, Mayor Todd, and thanks very much, Matt, for the report. I'm just wondering, in terms of options to go towards option 3, did we look at do other municipalities tender out for private contractors to maintain our sidewalks, and if that is a possibility for us to consider as opposed and to help us get more quickly to that point, as opposed to acquiring two new plows and two new staff positions to get us through at that larger price tag.
Uh, sorry, through the mayor, yes, I experienced that in my previous employment where we did contract out sidewalk and cycling facility maintenance through third-party contractors. And that would be included with our staff review to make sure we're looking at the best cost model to provide the service. And I did mention there too, there's also a significant need for occasional staff to make this not a 24/7 operation, but at least a 7 day a week operation. And it's becoming harder and harder to find seasonal staff to run equipment. So that's all part of the review of trying to find the best model that would fit North Perth to try and maximize the amount of sidewalks that we can maintain.
Okay, I think we've probably had enough discussion. I've read the resolution into the record. I need a mover and a seconder, I believe, at this point. So can I call for a mover? Councillor Johnston, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Richardson. Any further discussion or debate? Councillor Norton.
Thanks, Mayor Kiesenberg. I'll be honest, I'm more leaning towards option 2. So if we are going towards option 3, I won't be in support. Thank you.
Noted. Thank you. Anyone else before we call a vote? All right, let's have that vote.
I'm in favor.
Councillor Richardson records a manual in favor vote, and with that, it is carried. Mr. Matt Ropp, thank you for your service tonight, and appreciation to your staff as always. All right, let's turn to item 10. I'm sort of watching the time. I think we'll call a bio break as we move to closed session, if that's all right, colleagues. So at this point, let's turn to item 10 on our agenda. Does any member of council wish to ask for a report from staff or from one of our committees? Councillor Nordum.
Thanks, Mayor Kiesenberg. And with all this talk of snow, it got me thinking. I would like to request a report from potentially HR. I know Matt Robb just mentioned that seasonal help is kind of tough to come by. Wondering about updating maybe our standby pay for seasonal operators. I know when I was an operator, it was around 20 to 25 bucks a day, and that hasn't really carried on with inflation. So just curious if we can get a report on that at some point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think that would require some direction to the HR team if council is willing to chase that. Let's see, we'll draft a resolution then that we direct staff to prepare a report on standby pay for seasonal staff, part-time staff. Does that cover it?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Moved by Councillor Nordum. Can I call for a second? Councillor Johnston is good to second that. Discussion or debate, colleagues? Not seeing any, so let's, if the clerk is ready, let's have that vote. Councillor Andreessen records a manual in favor vote, and with that, carried unanimously. Thank you for drawing that to our attention. Anyone else wishing to request a report from staff or from one of our committees? Councillor Johnston.
This won't be a report because I know the answer to the question, but it's a question to Mr. Robb about. We have the digital speed signs in many of our hamlets, villages, and whatever. So like they're in Britain and Donegal and all over, and I think they do help. They can tell you you're doing a great job driving, which is usually when I'm driving. But the other day I was riding with Councillor Rothwell and it was flashing red and crazy for me to slow down. Atwood doesn't have any, and I know what his answer is going to be. But it is a road that people do fly through the, the Atwood. So I'm just wondering if there's any way we can. I know what MTO is going to say. Can we put them up and ask for forgiveness after? Or so that's my
That's his
question.
question.
Is there any way to get them into Atwood?
Before I allow his answer, I want it reassured that Councillor Duncan and I do not speed through Atwood Corridor. We do not. Now, Councillor and Mr. Rob.
uh, Through the mayor, and appreciate councillors setting the tone when it comes to speeds through our municipality. But correct, we've also received similar requests on 23 going through Downstown from residents as well. And unfortunately, not the road authority on those roads, so we're a little, I'll say, hand tied on what we're able to do on their roads. Um, uh, when we looked into the Gownstown issue, I was able to follow up, and Mr. Couch also made similar requests to the MTO and didn't get much traction on the issue. And we do utilize the speed sign throughout the municipality on our roads, and it is a I won't speak because I'm not the expert, but it is a short-term measure that does bring attention to the issue. We also have speed monitoring equipment that's, I'll say, stealth that we use to track speeds throughout the municipality that we are continually moving around to monitor to see what the actual speeds are.
Thank you. He knew the answer. He said he knew the answer. All right. Let's turn to item 11 then. We have received one item of correspondence beyond those already shared in the consent agenda for council's disposition. For item 11.1, it's been identified that we should consider a resolution relating to the presentation at our last meeting of a refresh of the community safety and well-being plan. This is pursuant to an obligation for said plan to be appropriately endorsed and adopted by partner councils. So I have a resolution to that end, colleagues, as a follow-up. As follows, that the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, charting the next chapter, empowering safe and connected communities 2025 to 2035, be received, adopted, and endorsed by the Municipality of North Perth Council and forwarded to the Ministry of the Solicitor General as required by the Community Safety and Policing Act 1990. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kellum, seconded by Councillor Anstead. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you, colleagues. Let's turn to consideration of bylaws that have been recommended to us for action. I think we're going to work with Councillor Johnston's declared conflicts. We'll take that one out specifically and deal with it. Yeah, we'll handle this one first. Which one was it?
Peppers.
Peppers. All right, thank you. All right. So, colleagues, before we consider this, let us deal with just a resolution pertaining to this Peppers municipal drain as follows. The following bylaw is hereby passed. 108-2025 being a bylaw to authorize the maintenance and repair of the Peppers municipal drain. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Bozic, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Andreessen. Any discussion or debate on this one? Clerks, are we ready? Let's have that vote. And that is carried. Let's invite Councillor Johnston back into the chamber. All right, so then we have the remainder then of this. Does anyone wish to extract anything for separate consideration before we consider the omnibus resolution? All right, as follows. The following bylaws are hereby passed. 105-2025 being a bylaw to authorize the maintenance and repair of the Feldman Municipal Drain. 106-2025 being a bylaw to authorize the maintenance and repair of the Gernhelder Municipal Drain. 107-2025 being a bylaw to authorize the maintenance and repair of the Gernhelder Municipal Drain main drain. 109-2025 being a bylaw to authorize the maintenance and repair of the Turner Municipal Drain. 111-2025 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 25-2023. 112-2025 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 6-ZN-1999 as amended. 113-2025 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 6-ZN-1999 as amended, and 114-2025 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 6-ZN-1999 as amended. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Duncan, seconded by Councillor Blazic. Thank you. Any discussion or debate on that one? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's turn item 13 on our agenda. Does any councillor wish leave to give notice of motion for our next meeting? I'm not seeing an expression of that. That brings us to item 14 on our agenda. For item 14, are there any announcements that would be a benefit to our community or that reflect well on North Perth at this time? I am not seeing that. So that brings us to item 15. And we have two items to be considered in a closed session meeting of council. I'll now read the resolution that enables our action to enter closed session as follows. The council proceeds in camera at 8:46 p.m. to address a matter pertaining to the following: a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board regarding Plan 44M10, Part Block 39, ASRP 44R 3986, Parts 2 and 3, and litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and a trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, financial, or labor relations information supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board, which, if disclosed, could reasonably be expected to prejudice significantly the competitive position or interfere significantly with the contractual or other negotiations of a person, group of persons, or organization regarding regional roads. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Nordham, thank you, and seconded by Councillor Richardson. Any discussion or debate on this? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Colleagues? Um, yes?
Yes, please. Through Mayor Kaseberg, I have decided to declare pecuniary interest on part one of the in-camera session, please.
Okay, thank
Record
you.
that.
And then, of course, 17.1
71
as well. So Deputy Mayor Kellum has, through point of privilege, introduced that he will declare conflict of potential interest on those items. Thank you. All right, so this meeting will turn to its closed session at this point. That means that anyone who has not been invited to attend should exit the chamber. We will call in representation from those groups that are to be called in because we will convene our meeting without those groups in the room. And we will reset the audiovisual configuration for our privacy. The doors to the council chamber should be closed, and we will, I think, take a this point so that we can come back at 8:55. Let's say 8:55. Sounds good. All right. So we will proceed in that order with the staff team getting our chamber ready for the closed meeting. We are in recess. All right. So council has met in a closed session meeting and discussed the matters that were identified in its enabling resolution for that purpose. I'm going to confirm with Councillor Duncan, and did give staff direction pertaining to the matter, the essence of which will remain confidential at this time, for the reasons that were stipulated in our enablement of closed session. Council has mandated good practice acts near the end of its meeting agenda to confirm all of its actions and business of its meeting through what's called the confirmatory bylaw. A few of us have to step out of the room, including me again for this, so we're going to call Councillor Duncan back into the chair for this purpose, and then you'll see the rest of us again for a few moments. It's kind of like a game of musical chairs.
I got bylaw 115/2025 being a bylaw to confirm generally previous factors of the council of the municipality of North Perth is hereby passed. Moved by Councillor Richardson, seconded by Councillor Nerdum. We got that on e-scribe. Everybody there now? That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Duncan, for your service. Colleagues, for our bylaws that touch on provincial priorities considered and passed at tonight's meeting, I am in support and will not execute a veto. This information will be provided to the clerk as part of my required duties as mayor. We have completed the deliberation and taken action on the business that came before this council tonight. It's thus appropriate for us to consider a resolution for adjournment, and I have one here somewhere. Here we go. As follows: the council meeting adjourns at 9:35 p.m. to meet again for a special council meeting related to the budget on Monday, November 10th. Sorry, I better get this right. At 6 p.m. 6 p.m. for the special council meeting next week. I'm assuming, Councillor Andreessen, that was a move for our adjournment. Who will second this? Councillor Blazek, thank you. It's not debatable, so let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Our next regular council meeting is Monday, November 17th at 7 p.m. We have a special council budget meeting scheduled for next Monday, November 10th at 6 p.m. Until our next meeting, this council is adjourned.